Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something, well, pretty challenging. How do you size up an investment when trust, personal trust, is a huge part of the equation?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
We've been looking into these excerpts, Ghazala Din's investment scheme, A Trust Betrayed. And what's really striking isn't just that it went wrong,
Right.
but how convincing it all seemed at first. So our mission here is to really unpack Ghazala Din's scheme, figure out what made it tick, why it seems so appealing,
Mm,
and pull out the really critical lessons about due diligence, about trust, especially when maybe cultural norms are involved.
absolutely.
And let's be upfront. This whole scheme, sadly, turned out to be a scam.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
So the source puts it pretty bluntly. Investments done with Ghazala Din, she turned out to be a scammer. Harsh. But the real question is, how did it get to that point? How did it seem so plausible?
Well, that's the fascinating part, isn't it? The source says it was presented as very plausible and, crucially, with very little risk.
Okay, low risk sounds good.
Exactly. Ghazala Din was promising monthly payments.
Hmm.
Okay, nice steady income. Then bonus payments for bringing others into the scheme.
Ah, okay. Starting to sound a bit familiar.
Kind of. A bit MLM-ish, yeah. And the big carrot was this large bonus payment, supposedly coming when properties were sold.
Right.
But the real clincher, I think, the psychological hook, was her promise that if the scheme should flop, then all investors would get their money back.
Wow, a money-back guarantee?
On an investment?
Pretty much. It wasn't just about getting rich. It was this idea of no-risk wealth. That's a potent mix, especially if someone's maybe feeling a bit strapped for cash.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
It caps into hope, I guess.
Mm.
But even with all that, there were some, let's say, warning signs, especially around just basic transparency.
Definitely.
The source is clear. Ghazala Din did not once disclose the company name she used with her business partner or boyfriend, despite me asking several times for confirmation.
And that's huge, right? A fundamental piece of information.
Totally. If you don't even know the company name, exactly. And this ties into something else the source really emphasizes. This whole thing operated on a trust basis.
Right, the trust aspect.
The investor points out, no contract signed, absolutely no paperwork.
Zero paperwork for an investment. That feels off.
It does to many, but Ghazala Din apparently explained it away. She said it was quite customary in the Pakistani Asian community. Financial deals are often done on a trust basis.
Ah, okay. So using cultural norms as a justification.
Precisely. She explicitly framed the investments as being on the said trust basis.
Yeah.
And that's key because it reframes something that should be a red flag, the lack of contracts, as almost a sign of authenticity, like this is how we do things.
Making standard financial caution feel almost disrespectful to the community.
You can see how someone might feel that way, yeah. It puts the investor in a really awkward position.
Which you have to wonder, do scammers sometimes target communities specifically because of that strong trust, knowing those checks might be skipped?
It's a worrying thought, but certainly plausible. Scammers exploit any vulnerability.
And this mix of cultural pressure and maybe personal need, it really highlights the human side of investing. The source includes this really honest bit. Maybe it was my financial situation clouding my judgment. I did not do any other due diligence
Yeah.
before deciding to invest with Ghazala Din.
That's just so relatable, isn't it? How easily hope or maybe desperation can make us overlook things.
It really is. And that brings it back to you, the listener. Trust is essential in life, in communities. But when money's involved,
It gets complicated.
it does. Basic checks, verifying a company, getting a contract, just having something on paper that's not about distrust, it's just financial prudence.
So if someone tells you no paperwork is normal,
That's a moment to pause. Hesitantly pause. Maybe seek advice from someone totally neutral, outside the deal, like a financial advisor or even just a respected community figure who isn't involved. It's about balancing that cultural respect with protecting yourself financially. It's a fine line to walk. So, wrapping this up, what Ghazala Din's story really shows us is, well, how convincing these low-risk promises can be.
and how easily a lack of transparency can be sort of explained away.
And that complex dance between cultural trust and just basic financial common sense. It's not always about spotting obvious lies. Sometimes it's about understanding how our own judgment can be influenced.
Which leads us to a really important question for you to think about.
Mhm.
In a world where trust is so vital in many communities, how do you handle financial decisions when those cultural expectations, maybe about doing things informally, seem to clash with standard due diligence, especially when that no paperwork approach is presented as a positive thing.
Yeah, that's definitely something to chew on. How do you navigate that? Really powerful thought. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you'll keep these things in mind on your own path.